The security alert screamed through the Zenari Military Academy at 0300 hours. Captain Theron's claws scraped against his command console as he watched the surveillance feeds. A human, had infiltrated the most secure wing of the facility. The wing where they kept the cubs. All units converge on Sector 7. Theron barked into his comm. We have an intruder near the juvenile quarters. His officers moved like shadows through the corridors, their weapons charged and ready. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Rare and dangerous. The Zenari had learned that lesson well during the border wars. These small, soft creatures fought with a fury that defied their fragile bodies. Theron arrived at the juvenile wing within minutes. What he found made his blood run cold. 12 Zenari cubs formed a perfect defensive circle in the middle of the training hall. Their small bodies pressed together, fur bristled, teeth bared. At the center of that circle sat a human female. She was small, even for her species. Dark hair pulled back from her face. Simple clothes. No weapons visible. She was smiling. Stand down. Theron roared at his officers, who had their weapons trained on the scene. Do not fire near the cubs. He approached slowly, his own weapon lowered but ready. Human, you are under arrest for illegal entry into a military facility. Step away from the cubs. Now. The human didn't move. She just kept smiling, that strange, soft smile humans had. The cubs growled louder. Captain, one of his officers whispered. The cubs, they're protecting her. It was true. The defensive formation wasn't meant to protect the cubs from the human. It was meant to protect the human from them. Theron's mind raced. This made no sense. Zenari cubs were taught from birth to fear and respect authority. They obeyed their instructors without question. They certainly didn't protect unauthorized intruders. Vash, Theron called out. He recognized the cub leader, a young male with unusual silver markings. Top of his class. Vash, report. What is happening here? The cub's ears flattened against his head. Cannot comply, Captain. Cannot or will not. Will not, sir. Vash's voice was steady despite his youth. We are protecting Kalen. Kalen. Theron's translator struggled with the name. The human has a name? She told us her name, sir. 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. Theron's tail lashed in anger and confusion. This human has been infiltrating our facility for 3 weeks, and no one reported it. She wasn't infiltrating, sir. This came from a smaller cub, a female named Kira. She was visiting. Visiting. Theron couldn't believe what he was hearing. Cubs do not get visitors. Especially not human visitors. Especially not at 0300 hours. Kalen finally spoke. Her voice was quiet but clear. I'm sorry for the confusion, Captain. I didn't mean to cause a security alert. I usually leave before the morning patrols. Usually. This human spoke as if her illegal entry was a routine matter. Explain yourself, Theron demanded. Now, or I will have my officers extract you by force, cubs or no cubs. Kalen looked at the cubs surrounding her. Something passed between them, some silent communication Theron couldn't understand. Then she nodded and looked back at him. 3 weeks ago, I was working late in the civilian sector, she began. I'm a maintenance technician for the environmental systems. I heard crying, sobbing really, coming from the ventilation ducts that connect to this wing. Theron's ears swiveled. Crying? Zenari cubs didn't cry. They were trained to be strong. Emotions were weakness. I followed the sound, Kalen continued. Found a vent opening. And I saw him. She gestured to Vash. He was alone in a small room, curled up in a corner, shaking. Vash's ears pressed even flatter against his skull. The other cubs shifted closer to him. I spoke to him, Kalen said. Asked if he was okay. He was scared at first. But I just sat there. Talked to him. Told him it was okay to feel sad. That being strong didn't mean never feeling scared. Ridiculous, Theron snapped. Our training methods have produced the finest warriors in the sector for generations. Cubs must learn discipline, strength, control. They're children, Kalen said simply. 6 years old. 7 at most. They're babies. They are cubs, Theron corrected. Future soldiers. Future protectors of our people. They're both. Kalen's smile faded. Her eyes held something Theron didn't expect. Not anger. Something softer. Sadder. They can be future soldiers and still need someone to tell them bedtime stories. Still need someone to say it's okay when they're scared of the dark. Is this what you've been doing? Theron asked. Telling them stories? Vash answered before Kalen could. She tells us about Earth. About human cubs. Children, she calls them. About families. About something called hugs. Hugs. Theron's translator offered no context for the word. It's when you hold someone, Kira explained. To make them feel safe. To show you care about them. We don't do such things, Theron said. But even as he spoke, he noticed how the cubs pressed against each other. How they drew comfort from proximity. I know, Kalen said. Vash told me. He told me that Zenari cubs train alone. Sleep alone. Eat alone. That showing affection is seen as weak. It is weak. Then why, Kalen asked, are 12 of your strongest cubs risking punishment to protect me? The question hit Theron like a physical blow. He looked at the cubs again. Really looked. They were terrified. He could see it in their eyes, smell it in their scent. But they didn't move. Didn't break formation. They were more afraid of losing this human than they were of him. Sir, Lieutenant Kale spoke from behind Theron. Security logs show the Cubs' performance scores have increased significantly over the past 3 weeks. Combat efficiency up 17%. Problem-solving skills improved across all metrics. They're actually performing better. Theron's mind struggled to process this. Everything he'd been taught said emotional attachment made soldiers weak. Yet here was evidence to the contrary. Why? He asked, directing the question at Vash. Why protect her? What has she given you that we have not? Vash looked at Kalen, then back at Theron. She sees us, sir, not as future soldiers, not as weapons to be sharpened. She sees us as people, as children who are scared and lonely and trying to be brave. We are still brave, Kira added quickly. We train hard. We follow orders. But now we know it's okay to be scared sometimes. We know someone cares if we're hurt. Someone will listen if we need to talk. Kalen stood slowly. The cubs tensed, but didn't break formation. She raised her hands, showing she was unarmed. Captain Theron, she said, I broke your rules. I accept whatever punishment you decide. But please, her voice caught slightly. Please don't punish them. They're just children who needed someone to care. Theron stared at this small human who had infiltrated a military base, not for intelligence or sabotage, but to comfort lonely cubs, who stood now, ready to face consequences, asking only that the cubs be spared. His entire worldview felt like it was cracking. Stand down, he told his officers. Then, to Kalen, you will come with me. We need to discuss your visits. The cubs tensed. Vash stepped forward. Captain, please, I'm not arresting her, Theron said, surprising himself with the words. I'm taking her to speak with the Academy Council. Perhaps. He paused, struggling with the admission. Perhaps there are things we can learn. From humans. About strength. Kalen's smile returned. Soft. Understanding. Thank you, Captain. As Theron led her away, he heard Kira whisper to Vash. She'll come back, right? And Vash's confident reply. She promised. Kalen keeps her promises. Theron realized then what the cubs had learned. What his entire species had forgotten in their pursuit of perfect warriors. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is care.